Hello, everybody. I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I have about 20 minutes or so. I just want to go through the price action of Bitcoin. Something happening. It's still at resistance. We're still not out of the woods per se in terms of making another slightly lower high. I think that's still entirely possible. But a lot of really great things are happening all across different time frames. I'm just going to start with the weekly here to remind you a few things that we've seen so far on the Bitcoin price action. The first thing is it has really reclaimed a lot of the resistance here back into support. And it looks like we're going to close the Bitcoin candle here on the weekly when it closes in about an hour or so, unless if we have a significant dump, there really is no wick right here. Whenever there's no wick right here, that really is telling me there's a potential for further bullish continuation. That's what it favors. Over here, yeah, I didn't have much of a wick over here. It did end up having a green candle over here, but ultimately it was counteracted the week after that. But currently, this favors further bullish continuation, and you have a bullish Tenkan-Kijun cross here being developed. This really does look like it really wants to break out here further. Back here, it just wasn't ready yet. I think it was just wanting to gravitate and touch the cloud here around 53,000. It did that. There's no reason for it to come back to the cloud again. And basically, you flip the cloud. Like the entire price action of the last 2 years is basically flipping it from resistance of the weekly Ichimoku cloud to support. And whenever you have something that's flipped from resistance to support, generally it brings on a lot more bullishness moving forward, right? So I do think that we're probably going to close the week here with a candle that doesn't have much of a wick above, which favors bullish continuation. That doesn't mean that we're not going to come back down the next week, maybe to down below further. That's still a possibility, but this favors bullish continuation. Even if their next candle end up having like a wick down below and back test on this stuff and grab more liquidity down, which I think is entirely possible. The bull market support band is served as very good support. It has flipped from like a negative sloping resistance to now a flat to a positive sloping support. It has really served as almost support like right on the dollar right there. And this really has brought on to the fractal that we had back in 2023, where we had sideways chop here for about like half a year to 8 months or so. It got really everybody super bored on Bitcoin. And during this process, it did break underneath of the bull support band, got rejected here, but it just needed to consolidate here for about 2 months over here, and then is able to kind of reclaim it back and broke back above, right? That's exactly what's kind of happened over here. You have the breakdown of the bull support band, you have price kind of hovering underneath of it for a little bit of time, and you're able to break back above of it, back tested it, and you are finding support, and it looks like it just kind of wants to kind of go up higher, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing here. There's really no particular reason to be bearish at this moment. I do think that there's a lot of similarities between this breakout candle over here and this breakout candle over here. Now, if that's the case, that means we have a lot further up to go, right? And if you also look at the higher time frame here, it has also become very, very bullish so far, which basically the same fractal currently is also playing out very similarly to the 2023 before further bullish continuation, where the blue line, which is the Tenkan, has just been serving as support to kind of push price up higher. Whenever we went way too far, way too fast back in March 2024, it was just way above the Tenkan. It needed to consolidate. Initially, we thought, hey, maybe 4 or 5 months, touch the Tenkan, here we go. Nah, it just wanted to consolidate for another 3 months. I'm like, okay. But right now, you really have a pretty bullish, configuration here. The Tenkan is really serving as some pretty decent support here on the monthly. And on the weekly, again, bullish cross. You also have bullish support band, flipping from resistance to support. You have a lot of confluence here that's really telling you that things are going to go up higher. Supaichi also look amazing. The Supaichi cloud also look absolutely amazing because you did have initially a little bit of a breakdown into underneath the Mitsubishi cloud, but you also have basically bounced back above, came back tested the bottom of the cloud almost perfectly, went back up, and using the Mitsubishi Tenkan right now is also going up from there, right? I think we're going to close the week with like a relative Marubazu candle. It's going to favor some bullish continuation. That's what it looks like. Are we going to go up in a straight line? No, you're going to have some lower time frame price action. It's going to scare a lot of people, and that's okay. That's what they generally want to do. Yeah, I just want to jump in. I have like 20, 30 minutes, and I'm like really kind of excited about the price action for Bitcoin. I hope I'm not getting excited as a contrarian signal that it's going to go down and plummet. I think I'm getting excited because I'm seeing a lot of things that are kind of working out here. The downward arc over here, and this is again, I drew this weekly GAN here from the cycle bottom, and the setting I use is 360, 500. So the GAN over here, the arc, and you can see this has really given you some really beautiful market symmetry, right? Arc, 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 right? And if we're able to break above the horizontal line over here, which is going to be around like 71,200, if we're able to break about 71,200, you're really talking about like to the next arc up here, which is going to be triple digits. If it goes, it depends on where it hits the arc up here, but you're really talking about like triple digits potentially during Q1 of 2025, which is like, pretty incredible. It looks like it's really going to close way above the arc here. Now, again, doesn't mean it's not going to come back and back test the angle over here around like 65 5 or something like that. Like it's possible it could be a wick down and then further bullish continuation is entirely possible. But it looks like there's a pretty nice clean breakout over here of this arc over here. So next levels gravitate to maybe like 71,000. If it breaks above that, then you're talking about potentially triple digits. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. Volume is a little bit more supportive here. Maybe you have a little bit of tiny bit of volume coming in too. So everything's looking pretty healthy. If you're looking at a lower time frame, I have some other Gann charts here to kind of tell you what I'm thinking in terms of lower time frame. I want to say this. I drew this on an 8-hour, and on the 8-hour, basically, is telling you a very, very similar story. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go back to the weekly chart here. I'm sorry to jump around on you like this, but this is important. If you simply just do a Fibonacci level from the cycle high all the way down to the cycle low over here, you have, that's the reason why 69,000 is such a hard resistance, right? We really like to see the week kind of close above that if we can, because that was the previous cycle high. And if we're able to close that with relatively little to no wick at all, and I probably just jinxed it because we still have another hour and we can totally get rejected from here, and it could just be a wick up above. But if we're able to close above this 69,000 area, then Bitcoin, like I even see like 71,000, maybe like some resistance here. But if it's able to close above this, then yeah, I think the arc could be next. Again, this could be a little bit of a false breakout. We have to have some confirmation and whatnot, but it looks like based on like the fractal from here to here, based on the breakout from multiple indicators, based on the fact that it's finding a lot of support down below, I think it has a good chance to challenge the previous cycle high, and I think it's a good chance over like in Q4 to break above the 71,000 level to really try and grab it up to the arc, and probably end up hitting the arc maybe sometime around like Q1 or maybe in Q2 of 2025. That's kind of what I'm seeing, which would be incredible if it ends up happening. Now, looking at the lower time frame, I have an 8-hour chart here. It's basically illustrated some very, very similar thing. Like I think 61,000, which would be maybe around the arc up here, that might be like a little bit of resistance here, or maybe even like a little bit higher here at the arc up here, maybe like 62,000, somewhere around here, could potentially be where it might get some resistance here. But it's got like, now this is a lower time frame chart, right? The Fibonacci level is drawn from the let me see. Yeah, it was drawn from the high back in March to the low back in like August 5th, right? And when you see this Fibonacci level, whenever you break above the 0.786, generally price tend to gravitate up, a lot faster from there. Because if you have a clean breakout of the 0.786, And you're also getting about this horizontal gain line over here. Like generally, price just wants to kind of ride up the 45-degree angle, probably going to hit like the arc up here. That's what it looks like it wants to do. Now, is it going to end up doing that in a straight line rather than coming back down, back tested, and going up? I think there's still a good chance of coming back and back test it. And I know you guys are like getting so tired of like all these back tests, but you're still going up here over the last few days to like a week or two on some bearish divergence. So at some point, I think bearish divergence probably still needs to be resolved before going up higher. But these are low time frame, bearish divergence, so they don't have to like so they don't have to listen to like what I have to say in terms of bearish divergence. It can just keep going up. But most likely, looking at the fact that you have a little bit of bearish divergence here, where the oscillator is kind of trending down, and the price kind of going up here, it's got a little bit of exhausting look to it. I do think that there is a good chance to come back at least to the 0.786, tap it, and then see if we can find support. If not, you might find some other support down below before going up further. Um, I just don't see us making a clean break quite just yet on the lower time frame. I think the market maker still wants to toy with us. There's still a lot of liquidity down below that is to grab. I don't know how much they care at this point, because at some point you can't just keep grabbing liquidity in the range, and you just have to break above a range whenever you have like global liquidity forces like Chinese printing money, US is financial conditions easing. At some point you're just gonna have to have a breakup one way or another. But you're a little bit of bearish divergence here on a lower time frame. I can see coming back down and tap it a little bit and then go up a lot higher. Now, how low is the low is the higher low going to be? I don't know, right? But that's kind of what I'm seeing here on the 4-hour chart. I am also seeing that it's still getting rejected here, right around 69,000, which is still going to be an issue, right? If it comes back down, how far is it going to go? Well, it could go down to like 67 500 and go down a little bit lower to like 66, 500 maybe. I don't see it going any lower than that. The lower time frame on a 4-hour actually is telling me that I think the bearish divergence might be getting a little bit negated here, because it is breaking above like this kind of trend line here a little bit, right? So there's a potential for it to say, hey, I don't care about your bearish divergence, I just want to go higher. This is the juncture where I'm just like, you know what? Is it resistance? I'm not going to go like all cycle and just buy everything. I'm just gonna like take a step back. I have loaded what I needed to load up already. If the market gives you another opportunity to come down here, I'm gonna look into other places that I would like to get higher exposure. For example, one exposure I would really like to get is like I want more Coinbase exposure. That's what I really want. Yeah, I see price is currently coming back down here from from like 69 300 400 to like back to 69. So it is getting a little bit rejected here. I think market makers probably not going to want to close the week um, above 69,000. We'll see. You got another hour going, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious here. I'm not going to go like do any weird like short-term moves or anything like that. I'm not going to try to sell here and try to buy back lower. I think that's also concern as well. So that's kind of in terms of I'd be very excited about to see how the hour close. Um, I don't really have much else to kind of talk about. I was looking through like earning whispers. I was looking at what's happening in catalyst next week with earnings. Earnings season's back. So I was looking at two stocks here. One is Enphase, the other one's Tesla. If you're talking about Enphase, I think this is like one of the great Matsby's favorite. Um, I don't know whether or not I would want to get into Enphase here. There's a particular reason why I think it might be a little bit um, risky, if you will. There are two reasons. First of all, if you do a Gann chart here on the square with 180 and 10, it's kind of a little bit underneath the Gann arc here. I mean, it was a little bit underneath the Gann arc here, and it didn't really matter. It kind of went back up above anyway. But yeah, like currently, there's not really like a whole heck of a lot of wick down here. So I don't know if it's strong enough for me to want to get into something like this. And also the weight translator is also kind of turning a little bit negative here. So I don't know like where I stand for this. Another thing that I also don't know where I stand with this is also if you just look at the 20-month moving average. In general, I like to see the flipping of 20-month moving average from negative sloping to a little bit more positive sloping before I can really, trust the bottoming process, if you will. And I really just haven't really seen that quite just yet, right? Which is the reason why I think it had a pretty bad month so far. Um, but all it takes sometimes is just like 3 candles, just like JD, like next thing you know, all it takes is just like 3 candles for it to kind of break from negative sloping to to flip from negative, sloping to support, right? But that's not usual. Usually you have a lot more gradual change. So I'm just not really seeing or feeling that quite just now. I'm trying to look and see if there's any kind of like bullish diversions or anything for me to really get interested in. Let's see if I do an RSI here. Yeah, you do have a little bit of bullish divergence here. Not, no, actually, not really. Yeah, you don't really have any bullish divergence here on this time frame. On the 2 week, I'm not really seeing any bullish divergence. On the weekly, I'm not really seeing any bullish divergence. It is a little bit overextended here, but it has also been selling off on high volume right into earnings. Who knows? Who knows? Like I just don't feel comfortable enough to enter it. Um, I think I'm probably just going to keep watching it. This doesn't seem to be a market mover though, so I'm just interested in seeing what it does. Tesla, I kind of already talked about Tesla with the gang a lot. I also talked about Tesla on a live stream from yesterday. Nobody knows what's going to happen. A lot of people think this is a bear flag, but the bear flag is always there before an uptrend. So like this is a bear flag right there. This is like, and this is also a bear flag supposedly. So like, then this is also a bear flag, right? So I don't know like what people mean by that. All I see is a potential island reversal on declining volume. That maybe another sideways candle Monday and Tuesday, right, getting support right at the daily Supichi cloud here, Monday, Tuesday, and then maybe Wednesday gap up. I don't know, or gap down. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to expect when it comes to earnings. Not here to trying to speculate. All I know is that on the weekly, you got more support here than resistance. You got a 20-week moving average, which is part of the Boral support band right there as support. You got the Ichimoku cloud right there as support. You got the range bound between the Tenkan and Kitchen of the Supaichi. The 200 is going to be a common theme. If it breaks down here, it's going to touch 200 next. And even on the monthly, you got like a lot of support down below the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly. It's around like let's see, yeah, around 213 or so. And also you also going to have a 21 moving average just going around like 217 right here. So you have so much support down below. You got a really bearish candle going into earning. I actually think that this is a pretty good setup for things to go up, although I don't know, right? I just there's no certainty. If it goes down further, I'll be happy to buy, but at this point, like there's no reason for me to like sell here at support and try to buy back lower. Like that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So even if it goes back down to 200, I think 200 is going to be really good, very, very solid support. Even if it goes down back to 200, and if I am certain that it's going to do that, like there's no certainty, so I'm probably just going to hold on to what I got. If what I suspect is correct, if Tesla is going to go up from here, if we end up having a island reversal that's bullish from here, then I think we're gonna do pretty good. So, and that also translates to the market too, because this could potentially be the next market mover outside of Nvidia. Now, I think Nvidia, the trend in Nvidia, like it's still bullish, but it's starting to get a little bit exhausted. Whereas Tesla might just be getting started here. So, yeah, very excited to see what happens. Reaction to earnings. I don't think anybody really expects like any stellar numbers from earnings or anything like that. I think they just have to get it over with, and then we'll see what they figure out from there. I got to go. I would love to cover a lot of other stocks. I just wanted to come by, say hi. I know you guys want to talk about Riot, want to talk about CIFR, want to talk about SoFi and CleanSpark, but I just I think I just am I nervous? What am I nervous about? Am I nervous about your meme? Maybe. This is CIFR. CIFR is looking beautiful here on the monthly. Oh boy. And Cypher is looking pretty bullish. I think it just needs to break about the $5, 550 zone, and then it's gonna keep running. The resistance over here got rejected around $8. I think that's another huge resistance zone, but it's building up a lot of energy. Look at all these buying candles over here. Like, there's nothing for me to get really that bearish on it anymore at this point. If you look at the GAN here, like at the next natural level, now they've back tested the arc over here, have a very nice tab, is going to go up to this arc up here. Like that's going to be where it's going to end up gravitating to. So I'm pretty happy about it. Since I'm here, I talk about Riot. If you ask me about Riot, I think that there is still more resistance than support. You are closing the week a little bit above the kitchen here. Now, what I mean by that though, you can still make a lot of money from Riot if it runs from where it is right now all the way to the bottom of the cloud. There's still a lot of gains to be made, right? But that would still be a lower high compared to $13 over here back in July. It really has to have a lot more increasing volume, and it does have a lot of increasing volume so far. So we have to watch what the price does once it gets to the cloud up here or the arc over here, right? Once it gets to the cloud up here or the arc over here, you will see what the volume does. If it continues to have increasing volume, then you might end up pushing to the top of the cloud here and make a higher high, and you're gonna have to come back and make a higher low at some point. Maybe tap the bottom of the cloud, or maybe tap the bottom of the arc over here before further bullish continuation. Right before that happens, this is still a downtrend. So that's what I'm thinking now. If you want to trade in and out of Riot, like what A is trying to do, yeah, there's a lot of potential gains to be made. There's increasing volume over here. There's a good chance it hits the arc over here or the bottom of the cloud over here. I just don't know anything about what's necessarily going to happen after that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm going to go through SoFi here real quick too. It is at resistance from multiple cents. It had a very, very clean breakout about the Ichimoku cloud on Katana, but it's hitting the angle. It's hitting the angle over here. It's also hitting horizontal line over here, right around $10. So you're gonna have a lot of issue here, but it's on increasing energies, increasing volume. So I'm not gonna bet against SoFi. I'm not at this point. I'm not gonna try to sell out and try to buy back, but I wouldn't buy here. Like I basically I'm just stopping my DCA right here, because it is like way outside the weekly upper Bollinger Band, is asking to be punished, right? Can it keep going higher? Yeah, it can. Look over here. You were way outside the upper Bollinger Band, but it kept going higher and just went from like $9 all the way to like 11.7, right? So I'm not going to bet against a strong bull trend like that, but I'm not going to DCA here. Like, are you crazy? No. Um, I think it's also hitting some like upper Bollinger Band resistance here on the monthly here. Now, the bull trend is developing very beautifully. 20-month curling up, found support here at 20-month. Bollinger Band is expanding. Probably just needs more time. I think SoFi is going up a lot higher in 2025, 2026. I have come up with some targets, but the key thing is I think we have enough juice to probably hit like the next level is going to be like around 11.4, 11.5. And I think it has enough juice probably to get up to like 14. I think 14 is going to be a pretty strong resistance level because price has spanned that $14 level for an entire year in 2021 as support. And we probably going to hit that as a resistance up there. And it's probably going to be hard for you to break about 14. But there's still a lot of gains potentially over the next few months or next couple of quarters from where it's at right now. If it ends up making the 14, that's still a lot of gains from there, right? And again, I'm not going to bet against it because it's on increased volume. That's really all I have to say. I mean, like if you look at the GAN, if it's able to break about this angle up here, it's going to gravitate up to the arc up here and the horizontal up here. 11.5 is going to be a pretty strong resistance, right? And I can potentially see it if it's able to break about this confluence or resistance zone over here. Again, you're going to need a lot of energy to kind of push through here. You might start to build a lot of energy up here because increasing volume. But once it breaks above, I can see it gravitating up to the arc over here, maybe around like March or April of 2000, or even May of 2025, and that would be around like $14. Like there's a magnet up here. Eventually, I don't know which path it's going to take. It doesn't matter, but I think that's probably where I'm thinking is going to happen over the next couple of quarters. None of these things are deterministic. I did not see the future, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. One last thing with CleanSpark, I'm going to go. Yeah, I know. One last thing I'm gonna go because I'm scared of Evian. It's the 0.618 is being reclaimed, and you're starting to kind of close the gap over here. Now, there might need to be some additional resistance here to close the gap because gap close usually you're going to see some resistance also right at this scan line over here too, right? So yeah, probably maybe take some additional time here to kind of push through. But I totally see it gravitating back to like the 0.786 and trying to use that and break above the resistance here around like $21.50. He was able to break above that. Then you have a little bit of again, curve here. I think it's going to break above that too, and it's probably going to make like higher than like the cycle high over here if you're able to break above the 0.786. That's really it. Like I don't have much else to say about CleanSpark. It has some increasing volume here for last week, which is promising. Same thing, right? If you're able to break into the cloud and break above the 0.786, then I think it can go up a lot higher. I don't have much else to say about it at this point. It's a bull trend. 20-minute moving average is being reclaimed and reclaimed very, very strongly. You have a bullish engulfing candle. You have a little bit of tweezer bottom over here. So if October closes the way it does, oh heck yeah, it's going to go up a lot higher. Like that's pretty much it. I think it's going to gravitate up to the upper Bollinger Band here around like 2021. That's what I think, and that's going to be very confluent with the 0.786, and it's going to re-challenge that again. I don't have much else to say. So, guys, thank you very much for joining this wild, um, impromptu live stream. You guys have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye.